Hey everyone, thank you for joining for this Money Matters with FSA. I'm Mike Zarelli, Certified Financial Planner, and today we're going to talk about a very powerful financial planning tool, especially for when those emergencies arise, and that is your emergency fund. Let's dive right in. So what is an emergency fund? This is going to be a very liquid bucket of cash that can be used for when emergencies happen, things that come from left field. This could be a car repair, your home, maybe it needs a roof repair or healthcare costs. Really any big, large expense that you're going to need cash pretty quickly. And it's very, very important to make sure this bucket is fully funded. Now, what makes up your emergency fund? I'm going to toggle over to our details page, and for this client, they've got three buckets that can be considered in their liquidity or emergency fund bucket. Number one is going to be their checking account. Now, not everybody does this, but these folks, it's actually John Dutton. If you watch Yellowstone, John Dutton, his bank account, he keeps about one month of expenses in his just regular checking account, and that's okay. That's what works for him. Then on top of that, he's got a high yield savings, so that is definitely part of your emergency fund, that savings account, especially earning that high yield. We love to see that. And then on top of that, he's got about $3,500 in his brokerage account. Now, he told me that he is looking for some stock picks, so we're actually going to remove that from his emergency fund since it's earmarked for something else. Now, the next question is, how much should John and his family be keeping in these emergency fund buckets? Well, if I go back over to this summary page, we've actually got a little analysis. Now, some rules of thumbs are that you should keep at least 3 months worth of expenses in this emergency fund. Now that range can go up to 6 and even up to 12 months depending on your situation. For this scenario, John spends just about $12,000 a month. Now that includes all of his living expenses, his mortgage, food, utilities, you name it, all in about $12,000 a month. And so if I wanted John to have about 3 months of expenses in his emergency fund, again, his checking and savings account, that would equate to about $35,000. So he needs to have about $35,000 liquid to have a fully funded emergency fund. And if I go to this middle bar, well, he's got about $30,000 in his checking and savings account. So that leaves a little bit of a deficit of about $5,000. So that's something we would talk through with John. Hey, you need to buff up that liquidity bucket by about $5,000. Now, if you're comfortable with keeping just $30,000 and you'd rather not build up that $5,000, hey, that's okay. At least we pointed it out and made a decision based on the numbers. Now, let's say that John was a business owner or he was the sole income provider. That's a cause where we may want to increase or enhance that 3 months of emergency fund. Maybe 6 months of emergency fund would actually be more appropriate. So let's increase that and see the difference. Well, obviously it doubles the amount needed in that emergency fund. So we can see it's closer to $71,000 of expenses that would be needed to be liquid in that emergency fund. And so let me refresh down here. And so what you see is target liquidity of about 70. He's got 30. Now the deficit is 40,000. That's hefty enough where we're going to have to come up with a savings plan to make sure that happens. Bottom line, an emergency fund is a super powerful tool. It helps you stick to your financial plan. When markets get a little creepy or scary, you know that you have this extra bucket of money that you can access right away and really just be able to sleep well at night knowing that you have this cash cushion for any emergencies coming from left field. Well, that's it for today. This has been Mike Zarelli with Money Matters. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out at 301-949-7300 or questions at fsawealthpartners.com. See you in the next video.